Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello and welcome to Xandermonium with me, Xander Gibb, the talk show that gets you talking. It is Sunday and it is 5 o'clock. It might be 10 o'clock where you are or even 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about your beefs, the things that bother you. Twidiots. We'll talk a little bit more about what Twidiots are very soon. All this for your listening entertainment. More in a mere moment. So you can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the page or by phone 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or you can interact with me on Twitter at Xander Gibb, Xandergibb. That's Xandergibb. Someone just pointed out in the chat room that it's 2 p.m. elsewhere, not 3 p.m. That's what insomnia does to you. But we'll talk about that as well a little bit later. Feel free to call in and ask any questions or ask any questions in the chat, as long as they're not anything to do with my waist size or my age. So don't forget to check out the Jake Pentland Show, Saturdays, 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST, with Jake, Jen, Eli, and Susie, and all of the Cult of Jake peeps. And check out Time Out Seat with Brandy and Jenny. Now, they're on a 2-week hiatus, but check their Twitter page for details of when their next show will be. That is at Time Out Seat, TIMEOUTSEAT. That's Time Out Seat. Jenny, as most of you probably know, and Brandy are Jake's sisters. Also, check out the Rob and Trav Show every Monday and Tuesday at 8 p.m., 5 p.m. PST on grindhouseradio.com. I'm sure I will see you there. Well, hello to everybody in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. Hi to Joe. Hi to Kathy. Hi to Rachel. Hi to Brian. Hi to the guests that I'm not going to number. Oh, one of them just left. So sign in, interact with the chat so you can kind of be a part of what is going on. Now, we will be taking your calls very soon, so stick with us. So it's been a very interesting week in social media terms, and some very serious Twitter wars have ensued. Now, those of you who know me know that I'm a tireless fighter for equality, but somehow this week, along with other people, including Jake Pentland and Roseanne Barr, got labeled as transphobic. So for anyone unsure of what that means, in literal terms, it suggests that an individual is afraid of transsexual people, those changing from one sex to another. Now, this is clearly ridiculous, and it came out of Roseanne Barr quite innocently and quite rightly, showing support for an article which stated that young girls had been uncomfortable regarding pre-op transsexuals, that means with penis intact, and having that penis on full view in a female sauna. Now, the issue was clear to anyone with an educated brain. It was about any penis being around young girls, regardless of who it was attached to. So some Twidiots took it upon themselves to harass Roseanne and her family, and myself, because I got in on the argument as transphobic. Now, this is nothing short of preposterous. This woman, Roseanne Barr, has spent her life promoting equality. Her show, a TV show, Roseanne, tackled subjects such as homosexuality, racism, domestic violence, women's rights, classism, and inequality, just to name but a few. Now, let me remind you people, she did this at a time when it wasn't popular to do so. The culture in this country had such a big stick up its butt and was a totally closed shop. Now, she risked her own career and reputation to continue as a committed activist. Now, anyone who has the cheek to accuse Roseanne Barr of transphobia has to be a little bit twisted and out of touch, to say the least. You've only got to look at her presidential nomination campaign stance to see that she's a tireless worker in the furtherance of equal rights. So next time you want to attack people on social media, make sure you've got your damn facts straight. And don't jump on this misguided bandwagon to be popular, to get a shitty tweet from a celebrity. As a young person growing up, Roseanne's show was the only show that I saw gay people on the television that were portrayed as normal people and not objects of ridicule. Now, the LGBT community owe this woman a big debt of gratitude for her constant support and commitment to equality. And I'm pissed, to say the least, that folks are so forgetful of exactly who has stood in their corner and used their platform to fight for us. So that's my rant over, apart from to say, Viva la Roseanne Barr. Thank you for your commitment to the gay community. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look a little bit at the chat room to see if there's anything that we need to bring to your attention. Nope, just introductions. We are going to be taking calls, as I said. You can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. So that was me on my soapbox. And what I want to do today is give you a chance to get on your soapbox. Call in. Tell us what's gotten your goat this week. Are you pissed at the media calling Kim Kardashian fat? Ha ha. Has the president not dealt with something you wished he had in a timely fashion? Pissed because Con Ed has still not restored your power. I have power, but that's something that's really bothering me. Irked at the lack of gun control in light of recent events. Whatever it is, call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. And we are taking your calls now. Joe in the chat room just said she agrees with me. Jake and Roseanne did not deserve that star. I think that was probably shit. Unfortunately, our chat room seems to forget that we're all adults, and it doesn't print out swear words. Yes, apparently it was. So Brian says he's going to jump off chat and call in, so we will wait for his call. Also today, I want us to talk a bit about Twidiots. Twidiots. What are Twidiots? Well, Twidiots are the idiots on Twitter who try to engage us when we don't agree with their lunacy. I have had to block several people in the last few days over this transphobia gate. Now, where is the point when we give up on trying to educate people and draw them out of their idiocy? I used to think everyone was reachable if you took the time to explain in detail your point. It's, however, an unfortunate fact that some people will never be able to debate maturely and actually look at the points you present to them. How do you deal with Twidiots? Call us, 347-884-9061. This is your chance to get off your chest how you're feeling. So we have a caller. Let's see who this is. Hey, welcome to Xandermonium. What's your beef? Tell us who you are, where you're calling from.
Hey, Xander. This is Brian. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Doing good, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me on. I kind of have a beef. I don't really spend too much time with Twidiots, so I don't really know. I'm looking forward to how other people deal with them. I just try to move on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my beef was with the RNC coming up with this new resolution to continue to oppose same-sex marriage. You know, they didn't even have the what I would call just common courtesy and political smarts to wait and see what the Supreme Court did. And
right.
I found online there's the resolution itself is actually online, and I look at it on Twitter as the bedkeeper. I try to look at it from what scriptures say, and there's a lot of scriptures that support
right.
same-sex marriage, and so it doesn't require everybody to. There's one point where Jesus says, "Let him who can accept it, and then there's another point that says, "But don't forbid it." And so
right.
as Christians and as the GOP claims to carry the Christian banner, they
right.
carry a lot of Christian traditions, but they don't necessarily carry what the scriptures say. And
yeah.
so part of it, it's okay where they support one man, one woman marriage. Well, so do gay people. That's where we come from. But
right.
there's nothing saying that we can't also support same-gender marriage. The Apostle Paul, or go ahead.
Sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say that I think the differences between what religious people are arguing about is different from what, as far as I can tell, from what gay people are looking for. The religious people are saying what they're saying. They're actually talking about holy matrimony, which to me is different to marriage because holy matrimony is for people who do have spiritual beliefs, and I'm sure that some gay people are in that position too, that have that right to holy matrimony. And like you say, the scriptures do support gay marriage. But let me take this aside a little bit for you, because obviously on this show we are fully supportive of gay marriage and equal rights. Just from a constitutional perspective, the Constitution does not give any gender inclination with regards to who should be getting married. It just actually talks about two people being in love. Am I right?
The Constitution?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say it like this. When Justice Scalia asked, when did gay marriage become constitutional? Nobody really had an answer for him because, we don't have any laws on the book that says, okay, gay marriage is now constitutional. So
right.
I tweeted out, I said, Dear Justice Scalia, gay marriage became constitutional on July 4th, 1776.
Right.
Until, if gay marriage was not constitutional, DOMA would have never been necessary. DOMA came about because people were afraid that the Constitution wasn't explicitly banning gay marriage to the point that they wanted it to. And what we're finding is that that's why DOMA is going to be ruled unconstitutional, is because the Constitution doesn't and shouldn't ban gay marriage.
Right.
But the resolution itself, when you read it, there's one point on there that says the U.S. Supreme Court is considering the constitutionality of laws adopted to protect marriage from the unfounded accusation that support for marriage is based only on irrational prejudice against homosexuals. Okay, so
right.
The RNC is passing a resolution to protect itself from an unfounded accusation. That is, they're so far out in left field with that. They should be arguing some kind of Supreme Court or constitutional reasoning for why the government has a state compelling interest to ban gay
Absolutely.
marriage, and they don't.
I think,
and they don't.
Go on.
Weird.
I think there's a monetary aspect to this, really. One of the things Joe just said in the chat room, and I think we can address as part of this conversation, is she said, I do believe we can't force, say, for instance, the Catholic Church to marry gays. They have a right to their beliefs, I guess. But marriage itself, that's just BS. So how do you respond to that, Brian? We can't force...
I absolutely agree. Yeah, churches are not forced to marry atheists. They're not forced to marry, mixed religion couples. They're not forced to marry people who are not members of their congregation. There's all kinds of reasons churches are permitted to not marry who they don't want to, and that should not change, and it won't change. Making same-sex marriage constitutional in no way forces any church to marry folks. Now, of course, a lot of folks in the public square are saying that it does to, drum up support. But, Xander, what this really comes down to, I really realized this the other day when they passed it, this is not even about marriage anymore. You remember the representative? I think his last name was Agema, Agema, or something like that.
Right.
If you guys want to, when we're done with the show, I'll retweet the relevant tweets that explain it. But apparently, he was the one that posted on Facebook that homosexuals are filthy and this and that and everything else, and they're calling for his resignation. I think he's the RNC president for Illinois, and he was one of the members who got this resolution set up for the general meeting in Los Angeles, which is an annual meeting. I'm saying here, no fear, next year they're going to change it because by then the Supreme Court will have ruled. But basically,
absolutely, we hope.
But basically, he's, and now he said, I'm not going to say anything more about it. But basically, this was pure animus against homosexuals. Was his entire basis of arguing. But
which surely even in itself is unconstitutional. You see, all this about the separation of church and state really pisses me off because either it's separate or it's not.
Absolutely.
And Joe just said in the chat room, but marriage is not just a religious state. Absolutely, Joe. And the thing about marriage is, as we said earlier, it's the difference between marriage and holy matrimony. I mean. For me, a lot of people that I have spoken to have said it's actually more about the rights that are attached to this state, not about being able to say, hey, I'm married. I mean, that is a big part of it, but it's the rights that are attached to that. And most people think that civil ceremonies give you the same rights as heterosexual couples, but it doesn't. So say, for instance, tomorrow, Brian, you wanted to marry someone from Portugal, or just for an example, they would not get the same tax rights, benefits rights, and even their, what's the word I'm looking for, their immigration rights. They wouldn't get the same immigration rights as someone else. So to me, surely someone eventually is going to have to just sit down and say, screw this. This is actually more about, we have to take the Constitution into consideration here and actually look at the fact that what these things do is take away the constitutional rights of any individual, regardless of their sex, age, race, sexual orientation, any of those things. Surely it's going to have to come down to that.
I think it will. But, this thing with the RNC resolution, that's what I was getting at. That resolution itself has nothing to do with marriage. Tony Perkins, just before this came out, said if the GOP doesn't continue to oppose gay marriage, we're not going to give them any money. Tony Perkins is aligned with the Heritage Group, and there's what they call and the Tea Party, basically. And then there's the Karl Rove Group, which are basically the GOP establishment. And what we learned in this last election was those two factions of the GOP are at war. They're trying to, gain power for and control of the GOP, and they're using this as a wedge issue. And eventually this issue will be gone, and they won't have that kind of mileage to be benefited from it. And I think eventually we'll get back to the George Bush Sr. kind of Republican Party that we had before. I don't know what all hell seems to have broken loose in the party itself. So this resolution about marriage, had nothing to do with marriage. It had to do with that war going on in there. So, like I said, we're going to get past this. But yeah, as far as churches go, I look at it like this. Even though I see Scripture ordaining same-sex marriage, it's still not a basis for making constitutional law because it would have to apply to non-Christians as well. And so, either way it goes, this is still not a basis for law.
Well, Brian, I from conversations we've had already, I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for calling in today and having your beef. I look forward to having you come on the show again very soon as a guest for the whole show. Thank you so much for calling, Brian, and have a great day.
Anytime. You too, buddy.
Thank you. Well, that was Brian Bowen, a.k.a. The Bedkeeper. Check him out on Twitter and Facebook. Let's see who our next caller is. Hello, Carla. You're live on Xandermonium. What's your name and what's your beef?
Hi, this is Carly, and I fucking hate you.
Hello, Carly. How are you today?
Fuck you.
You want to fuck me? No, I'm sorry. I'm not into that kind of thing because I'm homosexual. But is this Brody?
I'm sorry, I couldn't even keep, I'm usually good at not laughing when I call in as somebody else, but I just couldn't help it because I was trying to sound retarded.
I called him once to Rob's show and was pretending to be Marley Matlin just to piss off Carly. and I couldn't do it without laughing.
Did you know it was me as soon as I spoke?
No, I knew more because of your area code, but when you started to speak, I thought, no, that's not Carly. You were too understandable to be Carly. So what's your beef, Brody? Tell us what's pissed you off lately. Who's pissed you off? Is it me? Is it somebody on Twitter? Who is it? What is it?
Well, Xander, as you know, everybody pisses me off. But the most recent person to piss me off would probably be, you.
Me?
You
Good.
were Carly.
Okay.
You were Carly.
Let's have it. But Carly pisses everybody off. Hence, I think that's what Kathy is calling to talk to us about right after.
Tell her to call now. Tell her to call now so we can all discuss it. And
all right, she's on. Let's bring Kathy on. Hello, is this Kathy?
It's me.
Hi,
Hey,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. Hi, Brody.
Are you there, Brody?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just reading something in the chat room.
So, Kathy, what's your beef? I have the impression it's kind of connected to what Brody was just talking about.
Here's my beef. Carly likes to play the victim on Twitter and make us all look like we're mean.
Right.
We do joke around with her. Don't get me wrong. We do joke around.
Right. Well, we do it with everybody, don't we? Really, it's non-discriminate bitching, isn't it? Really.
And I mean, she might fall for more, like when Brody made up there was an alien chasing him, and she believed it. So we might mess with her a little more. However, I put up with a lot with her too, which people don't understand,
right.
Because she takes me into DM constantly, and has a nervous breakdown every day, and I have to talk her off the ledge.
Well,
so
Kathy,
people don't see that.
Kathy, after you and Jen unfriended her, she started messaging me, and I just want to read to you guys the most recent message I got. You are a fucking dumbass. Why the hell should I even trust you? Bye. Never text me again.
Wow.
And then she'll be back.
She will, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure she will this time because I think part of the last kind of intervention, if you like, in the chat room was in order to get her to try and do things differently, which she agreed to do. Because part of the issue, as far as I can see, Kathy, is that she actually goes to everybody and gets their consensus of opinion about ridiculous things. And then when we get to the point, because let's face it, we're all busy. You know, you've got kids, I've got a job, Brody's got life and studies. We've all got other things that we need to be doing. There is a point when you actually get, pig sick of listening to her BS.
Yes, and even Jake couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
Because she was sending him email after email. And what she does is she does this. She'll say something, and then I say something, and then she goes into private and goes, why did you say that?
Right.
You know what I mean? What? Why did I say what? And then we have to have a big, huge argument about what everybody said. But then why did Brody say that? Why did Xander say this? Right. Listen, I'm not here to interpret for you. If you can't figure things out, get the hell off with Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, and this is definitely not in defense of Carly, our little clique that is referred to as the cult of Jake, there is kind of an initiation period, and I found it a bit difficult. But when you actually take a step back and see that the ribbing is from everybody about everybody. I use it now. Brody attacks no one more than me on Twitter, but I come back at him with clever responses, and then he either comes back with something even more clever, or he thinks, no, that's it. And surely that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? But is any of it personal, Brody? Let's face it. It's all fun.
No, none of it is. That's the difference. And usually when I insult Carly, it's not personal either, but it's the way that she interprets what I'm saying, and then she goes off the deep end and then needs Kathy to talk her off the ledge.
And the other thing I don't like that she does is, like, Joe's nice to everybody, let's face it. Joe's never mean to anybody.
No.
And she has a conversation with Joe and then goes, "You're right, Joe, I am retarded." Well, Joe never called her retarded.
No.
So
I don't. I know some people who have. There are some people that have called her a retard on Twitter, but that certainly wasn't the case with Joe. You know.
No, and I never called her, and so I hate it when she does that. "Oh, you're right, I am retarded." Well, I didn't call you retarded, not to your face anyway. So don't don't say I did.
Well, you'd have to get her. You'd have to get her to stand up to do that because she sits on it most of the time. I'm sorry. That just slipped out. You know, this is the thing, and I'm not going to mention names because I'm not going to kind of stigmatize anybody. But in the chat the other night, someone tried to turn this around on us and made us out to be cruel. Now, I want to ask you about this. At what point does it become cruel when you won't deal with people's BS?
Well, I think that certain person likes to always take the other side of whatever we're talking about, to be honest.
Right.
And also, I don't think he's dealt with what we have dealt with her. When I told her, "Don't talk to me anymore, I'm all done with this, I'm not going to baby you anymore," she ran after Brody. And Brody, admit it, it's exhausting.
Yes, okay. I probably got, I don't know if she did this to you too, Kathy, but I probably got upwards of 50 to 100 messages each day of constantly her looking for a pity party.
Yes. Right.
And Xander, if you happen to be on Twitter right now, you don't have to look right away, but just look at the tweet I sent out.
I just saw. And like I screen capped the other day. You see, I love whoever invented screen cap. I really want to sleep with you because whoever invented it, it's an amazing tool. Because this is the thing. You would not believe half of the things that this person says. You would not believe if I just said, she said this, she said that. You would not believe it. You would think that I was making the shit up. But this, I'll tell you when it becomes very scary for me. When she involved, the original Happy Hooker, $5 to show you my nipple. That escalated it all for me. But she was running to this person all the time and saying, "This person did this and this person did that," and so there was the element of, "Oh, please feel sorry for me," but then that person attacked another one in our group, and the attack was really unfounded and really bad, and I blame Carly squarely for that. I don't care if she's listening.
It was her
call
fault.
in, Carly, if you disagree.
No, that was Carly's fault. She called her daily and cried about all of us.
Right.
And said we were mean to her and this and that.
Who did she call?
And that person believed it. She
called
Faith.
the original Happy Hooker.
Oh, I see.
So, and I like Faith until she attacked Jen. I mean, I had to take a stand there, but I never had a problem with Faith at all. I like her very much.
Me either, and I do too. But this is what I hate. You see, I won't defend someone or any situation unless I think that that there's an unjust thing being said. And she jumped back at me and basically said, I do some things for Jake's show because I'm doing them for myself, so why shouldn't I do them for him at the same time? And her suggestion was that I was doing it to get my jollies from Jake, which was just hilarious. I mean, I only wish it was that easy for me to get my jollies, really. But I do the things I do for people because that's the kind of person I am, and I don't want anything. I don't want anything in return most of the time.
Well,
but
in her messages too, Xander, the ones that I received from her, it seemed as though she was using that as something to throw back in Jen and Jake's face that she helped out with the show and everything, and that they're being cruel to her for kicking her out of the cult. She sort of used the transcribing as that, and I've yet to see any of the transcriptions, and I'm sure
me either.
Oh, I can only imagine.
She asked me, she said, would I like her to, should Jake ask her to transcribe the show, my show, when I first interviewed Jake. She said Jake had asked her to transcribe it, and there were some words she was unsure of. I said, well, listen to it again. Isn't that what transcribing is? She's like, oh, right then, forget it. You see,
what were some of the words? What were some of the words?
I don't know, probably to and from and Jake. But to me, the whole part of transcribing is that if you can't understand what a word is, what do? You rewind and you listen to it again. I'm not a transcriber, but surely that's common sense.
But she doesn't really want advice.
No.
That's the problem. She doesn't really want it.
She wants to fight. She wants to fight because that's what gives her the attention.
And I'm starting to wonder if she's a mastermind, because I'm going to tell you what she did. When the fight went down with Faith, and I said, I don't like what Faith is doing, so I'm sticking up for Jen, but I didn't hate Faith. She wanted me to hate Faith. And she said, well, she talked really bad about you, too. I said, Faith talked bad about me? She said, yeah. So she said, do you want me to text it to you? I said, no, I don't want to see it. So for days, even though I didn't want to see it because I didn't want to think of Faith like that, it was in my mind. I was like, gee, I wonder what she did say about me. Like, I always got along with her. I never talked badly about her. So recently I said to Carly, I want to know what she did say. What did she say about me? She said, she said she knew you were going to take Jen's side because you're her cheerleader. Now, how is that horrible thing that she said about me?
But this is the thing for me. If most of us have never met, but I still consider you all to be good friends. And surely part of being good friends with someone is that you've got their back. And if you haven't, why the F are you friends with them in the first place?
Right.
But I think a lot of this, I think we don't know the full story with Carly. I think that there's more going on with Carly.
Maybe she's a genius.
Maybe she's a genius.
Maybe she is, but I doubt it.
That would be an awesome twist if she was.
It would. I have to just share something from the chat room. That Joe just said. She said, "Oh, you did something. So what?" This was in response to me saying that I did stuff for Jake's show. She said, "She's saying like Jake would jump on a plane to pay you off with a BJ." That's funny, Joe. Where does this go from here, Kathy? Because I know that she's had lots of chances in the past.
No, we're done. We're not going to talk about her anymore after this.
No.
Because I'm sure she's getting off on that.
Yeah, I'm sure, too. There are a lot on Twitter that get off on knowing that they've caused issues and they're being talked about. But the other day, it takes a lot for me to block someone. I either block them because they've really pissed me off and I don't want to see what they're saying for a while, or I don't want to see what they're saying again. Now, she asked me to add her on Facebook. She sent me a friend's request. I did that. She's deleted me and blocked me more times than Brody has, and that's saying something. I mean that in the nicest way, Brody. Go on.
And something I find strange, though, is like when I was talking to her before she blocked me and everything, she was telling me that she wasn't going to go on Facebook for a week or, however many days. But immediately after I posted something or Kathy or Jen said something, she's seen it. So she's constantly stalking. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, though.
Oh, I know she's a creeper.
Well, yeah, some people have made they've protected their tweets. But, I've actually got to the point where, I don't delete anything. And when I say something and I'm wrong, I actually make a big deal of it because I think that's an important step of growth, because if you just delete it all the time. So I don't have anything to hide. Everything about me, everything I put out there, that's all fine. So if she wants to read my tweets, let her do it.
The only times I delete is because I try to keep my timeline just as not that many @ replies on it. So I do delete a lot of @ replies, but I'm not doing it, to.
You're just a Jenny Pentland clone, aren't you? That's
exactly.
So, do you think, Kathy, there will be anything that will allow her to redeem herself with all of this?
No. I think Jake said it's up to me. I said she's out of the cult, and he wants her out anyway because she won't leave him alone either. So I think that's where it ends. She's goodbye, Carly.
Let me just tell you something that I really resent, Kathy, and I'm sure you will agree with this. I resent the fact that people have said to me that me not responding to her and me deleting her and blocking her after she's done it to me is cruel. Now, how is it cruel? I've spent hours counseling that girl, and there just comes a point where you can do no more. You know, I hate to use the terminology lost cause, but right.
And
but she's not just deaf. She's not just deaf as in she can't hear. She's deaf as in she just doesn't listen.
No, she doesn't.
And I think it's a shame, really, because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know. I actually don't know how much she's got outside of the cult.
She makes people with actual Down syndrome look smart.
I just want to remind you that the opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the opinions of Xandermonium.
I'm not going to comment on any of this.
No. So I just for me, I can't, because I often question my motives around things, and I think my motives with all of this were very pure, and I had enough, you know. I'd gotten to the point where I really couldn't, you know, because I'm doing something all the time. You know, I run my own business. You know, I do a lot of work on the computer. So for every 5 minutes to be responding to what do you think was behind what Kathy said, or don't you think it's bad that, you know, Brody has said this and he called me a retard? It's boring.
Yeah, I'm done with it.
And it's mentally draining too, because you know what I noticed? After you have conversations with her for long periods of time, you start typing like you're retarded.
Again, no comment. So does this mean that you and Carly are moving in together and getting an apartment in Hollywood?
No, there's no chance in hell, Xander.
Good. I'm glad. I do think it's a shame, but I do think that you know, ultimately we are the masters or the mistresses of our own destiny. But I do think that we have to kind of be aware of what we're putting out there, because all this is circular with Carly. It starts with her, it ends with her, and she's also in the middle too with all of these situations. She's been the creator of all this for herself. And the thing I think is really funny, Kathy, and I'm sure you'll agree with this too, Brody, whatever it is, it's Brody's fault. Always, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. She tries to deflect and throw it at Brody so we can blame Brody.
Exactly, and for the longest time, I was one of the people that was trying to, calm her down when she was going nuts. And as soon as everybody accepted her back into the group again, that's when she would try to deflect it all back on me and make it look like I'm the one that started everything.
Right. I mean, her plane was late the other day, and it was Brody's fault, you know, because Brody's got a part-time job at LAX, you know, cleaning the wheels on the plane, and he was late cleaning the wheels on the plane. Obviously, I'm being stupid, but
Joe has a question. Read the chat. She's going to send a question.
Question for all three of us. Fire away, Joe. Oh, right. Okay. It says, I think the Cult of Jake should be made into a TV reality show. Oh, no, that's Brian saying that. Yeah, I agree. It's funny, Brian. People have said that before. So let me just look at what Joe was saying. Has it ever occurred to you guys that she fakes the deafness?
I don't think you could fake that.
No. Nobody did possible to pretend to be deaf, and the people might really think that you are. I'll get thousands of tweets now from the deaf community saying that I'm a deafophobe.
If it is an act, she deserves the Academy Award. Academy Awards at the Special Olympics.
She does absolutely. So are you saying then, Kathy, that is it? There's definitely no more chances for her?
No, I'm done, because every time we let her back in and we explain things, she does the same thing over again. She takes me into private chat, and she's like a chimp on crystal meth. And I've had enough of it.
What a fabulous analogy. So while I've got you both on the phone, I'd like to get obviously we've talked about two other subjects today. The first of all, what I've lovingly termed TRANS-PHOBIA gate. What do you guys think about that? Did you agree with my statements about Roseanne and how much she's done for the gay community? And this is really a kick in the tits, really, for her. You know, I'm pissed about it, not just because I like her and I'm a fan of hers, but she's done all this work for the gay community, and then a section of the LGBT community turns around and says, you're anti.
I sort of disagree with Jake in one way. I don't think that transsexuals or men that have a penis should be allowed in somewhere where females are going to be able to see that, like a sauna. But if you're in a public bathroom where there's stalls everywhere, I don't think it should be that big of an issue, especially because I think I think most transsexuals, you wouldn't really know that they are men anyways, because they, dress like women and everything like that.
Absolutely.
But if it is like a macho-looking man going into a female public bathroom, then yes, I do think there's a problem, and there might be it might be difficult to differentiate the two. But
so, what do you think, Brody? Why do you think that a lot of people have kind of jumped on this bandwagon? Because it's unfounded protection. I could fully understand that if anybody had actually attacked a transsexual person about this, but the point was, penises being around young girls, whoever they were attached to.
True, I don't agree with that, and also I think there's another problem, and that's actual, straight men going into, female bathrooms and everything. So I don't I don't agree with anything that they were saying, but I can sort of see both sides of it. But the trannies are crazy on this one.
Absolutely. You can't use the term tranny because apparently that's offensive too. This political correctness just goes on its head. So just before we finish, Kathy, do you want to weigh in a little bit on that? How do you feel about that?
I actually agree with Brody.
Right.
The one story that they gave where the person showed his penis, obviously that wouldn't be okay anywhere.
No.
But in a stalled bathroom, who do I care who's peeing next to me? I'm not.
Absolutely.
If I see their penis, there's something wrong with me because I'm looking in their stall.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And, the other thing that kind of jumps out, and you can probably relate to this more than I, Kathy, because you're a parent, but I object to, a lot of people have said, so what if a young girl sees a penis? She's going to see enough of them in their life. That kind of pissed me off as well because what we're doing is we're allowing our children to be sexualized at a very early age, and I think that leaves them open to other things, because if they see that as normal, then when some dirty old perv shows them their winky, they're not going to think that that's as wrong as it actually is,
Right. But I think that was an isolated case. I don't think that happens constantly.
No, I don't think it happens constantly. But clearly that what has happened is this has just been twisted in order to make it a big deal. And it's good that we are talking about things. However, let's actually look at real issues that are affecting the LGBT community, and not ones that have been made out to be something that they're not.
Right.
And also, I don't really like Heather McDonald, but I did agree with something that she said on Jake's show yesterday about how in a time where the economy is so unstable, we don't really have the money to be funding unisex bathrooms in every public establishment.
No. Absolutely. Well, listen, I've got another caller on hold, but thank you both for calling in. It's been great chatting with you. We seem to have a consensus on the Carly Gate issue, that she is gone. Rest in peace, Carly. We love you a little.
Bye, guys.
You said
bye,
it. Thanks a lot.
Xander.
Take care. Thanks, guys. Bye. Okay, let's go to our next caller. Hello, caller. You're live on Xandermonium. What's your name and what's your beef?
Xander, it's Tony. How you doing?
Tony, how are you today?
Good.
So what's your beef? Tony's been on our show before. Tony comes and talks about political related stuff, and he's a libertarian. And I'm sure he's going to tell us what his beef is today.
Xander, you're assuming I have a beef, and it just so happens I do. Go figure.
Absolutely. Well, funny enough, the show is about having a beef, so that's why I assumed.
Well, this week,
Joe in the chat room says you have a nice voice.
Told Joe I said thanks.
She can hear you.
Oh, she can hear me.
She
okay,
can
see,
indeed.
I haven't had too much coffee today. My beef is about, you're going to love this one, Fox News Channel. I have a beef with Fox News Channel.
Right.
And I have a beef with Fox News Channel. They need to get over this whole war on food stamps. I mean, you turn it on 24/7. You know, somebody's talking about a legitimate news issue. I turn on CNN and they're talking about North Korea and the threat of war. You turn on Fox and they're ranting about how gangsters are using food stamps for drugs, and it's on like 24/7, and they're not even talking about truth anymore. They are claiming things that just aren't true, that I know is part of the system, that you do have checks and balances, and certain people can't get them, and you can't use them for certain things. And it's like they've gone beyond the truth with it.
I kind of I want to touch on a couple of things that you said there. It's kind of like that issue, like one of my friends was saying to me, I said, oh, yeah, I bought this DVD the other day in a bar and blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what it was. It was a copy of something they were saying, oh, you shouldn't do that. It's drug lords and all these things that are doing that to make money and send to other countries and all of this. And I think you actually never kind of think of it, you know, in those terms, really. Hello?
Well, yes, can you hear me, Xander? Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah, there was a gap, and Blog Talk is such a crappy station. I was just a little concerned that maybe the call had dropped.
No, and see, the thing about it is there are some legitimate beefs with the system. I understand that, but some of the things they're saying are untrue, and I have mixed feelings as a libertarian who doesn't like government spending, mind you, and who doesn't really believe too much in social programs. But I do believe in a safety net. And, you know, when it comes to providing food for people, I don't see how anybody can argue with food for people. And their propaganda, and that's what I'll call it at this point. And you know something? As you know, I listen to Fox all the time. You know, I defend them to the teeth if they're right. But when they start saying things that aren't true and hyping people up like this, there are now laws that some states are proposing, for instance, criminal background checks for anybody who gets food stamps.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's what they're proposing now. And see, people don't use their heads and think, you know? Food is food. A lot of the people I work with on the street need that food, even if they do have a criminal background.
Right. I mean, so let me get this right. Some states are quite happy to do criminal background checks to give you food stamps, but they don't want to do it for you to own a gun.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And see, that's my problem with it. It's not that there's not abuses of the system, that it's not legitimate, but it's getting hateful. It's getting resentful. Somebody's getting food for free. Yeah, somebody that's either mentally ill, has a criminal background, and can't get a job because they messed up their life or because they were on drugs.
Right.
These aren't the best people in the world sometimes, but they still need help, and they still need food. And to just cut it off is crazy.
Absolutely. Joe just pointed out something in the chat room. She said they give criminals, in parentheses, food stamps as part of the pay for rehab.
And you know something, I do believe that is true, but once again, when you listen to these commentators on TV, they're steering in one direction where you don't think about the overall picture. I see both sides as a social worker now. Criminals do get food stamps, but a criminal Try getting a job nowadays with the internet when you have a felony conviction or a domestic violence because you hit your wife. Not saying any of that's right, God forbid, or anything, but there are consequences when you commit a crime that people don't think about all the time, or the mentally ill people who are on the streets who constantly, do get criminal records as a result. And then they can't get the job. They've got or there's people waiting on disability, for instance, for 2 years that have no source of income or whatever, who may have a criminal conviction. And if you cut that off, you're cutting off their food.
Absolutely.
And the deception.
Go on.
Go ahead, Xander. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say I hate in this country that we see any kind of, well, not all of us, but that some people see any kind of social welfare or social medicine or social assistance as a bad thing. This for me, America is the greatest country in the world, and if we can't help our poor and people that are needy, then we've lost something somewhere. Capitalism is kind of it's kind of becoming a dirty word because it does not everybody is kind of helped from capitalism,
And it's sad that we debate so much giving our own people help, but we'll give foreign aid to terrorist regimes, and I'm not even going to go on that rant. It's like it's not a problem when we give it to a foreign country. And see, the problem is that they become so resentful and one-sided that they're actually lying. I have a close friend who's on food stamps, and you cannot use food stamps in the state of Florida anyway, and I can't speak for other states, but Florida is very strict on it. Unless you're a pregnant woman, you can't get cash from food stamps.
No.
It's impossible.
They do it for pregnant women, but they don't do it for other people. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for the cash end, not food stamps, but as far as getting cash. But see, Fox is running a bunch of stories about fraud and people supposedly going to strip clubs and buying things on food stamps and everything. No, and they're making it out they're making it sound like people are getting cash off the card and using it for fraud, and you can't do it.
That's ridiculous. It kind of reminds me of hookers in the 80s in London taking food vouchers as payment. Let me just go quickly to the chat room. Joe says, where are we? Let me go backwards. She was saying about, I hate this chat, you can't go backwards. What do you expect to happen with people who have a criminal record if they don't get food stamps? And my response was, they're going to return to crime. I think that society often contributes towards recidivism because if we don't give people a better option when they have served their time and paid their debt to society, why are we surprised when they end up back in there? Because what's the first thing you're going to do if you can't afford to feed your kids? You're going to steal to do that. And it's bad that in this day and age that people should have to do that. But unfortunately, they do.
And something, Xander, as usual, I absolutely agree. That's part of the problem. For example, some of the people I work with, they've got no income to pay the court fine. So what the judge will tell them is, and I think it's ridiculous, and there's cases where judges are humane and they make exceptions, don't get me wrong, but they fine them because they can't pay the restitution payment. But the people have no income. So they throw a fine on them, so where do they put them? They put them back in jail. Whereas if they recognize to begin with, hey, this person's got no means of support, no way to pay a fine, let's come up with some alternative for them instead of a fine, like community service or something,
Absolutely.
But instead they say, oh, you didn't pay your fine. Oh, well, you got no income, that's not our problem, you're back in jail. So our jail population increases.
Right. No, absolutely. So just to touch on something, I've got another caller waiting, but just to touch on something you said about the North Korean situation where Kim Jong Wang Tong, whatever his name is, and I'm not being racist saying that. I'm not sure exactly what his name is. He's declared war on the U.S. America is superior in its weapons capabilities and firepower. Mm-hmm. Is it presumptuous for this pissy little Korean to be threatening one of the world's superpowers? Does he think Dennis Rodman was President Obama because he's coming back next week? I mean, what should the U.S. do? How do you feel about that?
Well, I have I have mixed feelings on it, and I tell you, a lot of Americans do, because I'm noticing the chat now with Americans, and it seems like average Americans, the more he shoots his mouth off, the more people don't want war, but the more people are saying, you know what, if the guy wants it, let him have it, because we're in a state now where somebody has threatened, regardless of whether they have it, and the truth is we don't know, our government's not really telling us, you know?
No,
but he said
you're absolutely right.
His intention is to launch a full-scale nuclear attack on the United States, and he's declared war. Now, years ago, or under, he's lucky President Obama's president, not Bush, because if Bush was president, we probably would have knocked him out by now. So I have mixed feelings, because nobody wants a war, and it would be a devastating war of destruction. But at the same time, how long can we sit back when somebody says, I'm going to attack you, I'm going to destroy you, this is war? Do we wait for the point where he gets it?
I don't always think a preemptive strike is good, though. I mean, from what I can gather, we have enough. Our technology is advanced enough that if Korea sent up a nuclear warhead or something to America, they couldn't get all the way to America, apparently. But as soon as they did it, our detection systems are advanced enough to blow it out of the sky. So apparently there's not a lot to worry about with regards to, it's just, he's the little fat guy is blowing smoke out of his ass. And I don't mean me, I'm talking about King Jong, Wong Tong, whatever his name is.
And see, that's true, but perhaps it's the old New Yorker in me coming up. If a bully threatens me on the street to a point, I'm going to shoot you or something. And they talk too much, my reaction after a while is, let's see what you got. You know, and that's an emotional reaction, but it's getting to that point where it's like, okay, either rescind the declaration of war, or if you want a war, let's go to Congress and, we'll declare war. You want to fight, let's fight.
Absolutely. In essence, it's, put up or shut up, you little fat fuck. Did I say that? Well, listen, Tony, thank you for calling.
Basically.
Go on, you were saying?
I was just saying, basically, it's put up or shut up, like you just said.
Absolutely. It's very simplistic as far as I'm concerned. Yes, we don't want another war, but don't threaten us, We're not going to, we're not going to put up with your threats. Listen, Tony, so thank you so much for calling in. I look forward to you coming on as a guest again very soon for the full show. And we will look forward to having you back very soon.
Thanks, Xander. Take care.
Thank you very much. That's Tony Laseko. People, follow him on Facebook. Not on Twitter, because you're not on Twitter, are you?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Get your ass to Twitter, Tony. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you, Xander. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's see who our next guest is. Hi, welcome to Xandermonium. What's your name and what's your beef?
Hello, you there?
I'm here. Who's this?
My name is Mike.
Your name is Mike. Hi, Mike. What's your beef?
Well, my problem is I think they should send a fucking nuclear missile to Washington, Korea, and all these third world alien nations to get rid of all this ruckus, because I'm tired of all these wars, and I'm tired of the foreigners taking away our jobs from us American people.
I think I know who this is. So what you want them to send a nuclear missile to Washington?
Yep.
Who do you want to send a nuclear missile to Washington?
LA. Send one up to Boston, one to New York, one to Washington D.C., and don't forget the left coast. Everybody should get.
So what are you smoking? And are you Korean in origin?
I'm Korean in origin. We got too many people on the face of this earth. We need to cut the population in half so we have less problems. So we won't have to eat any dogs and cats anymore. Right.
So do you want to tell us who you really are, what's your name, and what is your real beef? Because you're not making much sense right now. And I have 5 older brothers, so I'm used to listening to people who are drunk. But what's your point? What are you trying to tell us?
What I'm trying to tell you is the population since 1960 has doubled. There's too many people on the face of this earth. People are on top of each other. You need to cut the population in half or less, eliminate all as far as global warming, all recycling, and everything else that follows with it.
Okay, well, listen, thank you for your call, and have a drink for us. Thanks a lot. Take care. Let's go to our next caller. Hello, you're live on Xandermonium. What's your name and what's your beef? Hello? Hello? Nope. I can see there's somebody there. They have dropped their call. Maybe it was Carly. So was it me, guys, in the chat room? What did you understand what that guy's point was? He wanted to send nuclear weapons to Washington because of population control. Clearly, the guy was either drunk or something was clearly not right with him. So we've got time to take a few more calls before we end. 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Please don't call in drunk. Please don't call in and be saying things that we can't interpret. You know, we just fired our crazy interpreter, Carly. She's not here today. Oh, Kathy just said unless you're drunk. I can, when I'm drunk, I can't even understand other drunk people. It's kind of scary. It really, really is. So who's out there? Are you there? Call us. 347-9. I can't even remember my own phone number. 347-884-9061. What has got your goat? I wanted to share with you a little bit about insomnia. It's a lot of people are affected by it in the United States. I also I suffer from insomnia, and I also have sleep apnea, so they both kind of work against each other. I've actually been awake for 36 hours before. By the end of this time, I've thought that I was a cast member on The Walking Dead. And I'm kind of sick of it. For most people, they don't know what the causes are for insomnia, but they say that there are a lot of contributory factors, like your what you're eating. It can be to do with medication. It can be to do with worry and stress. Lots of things that are connected to it. Are you suffering from insomnia? Do you have problems with sleep? What's your beef? Call in. We've got like 10 minutes left. Call in and tell us what you think. Like I said, as long as you're not drunk, 347-884-9061. Just a little bit of a fast forward for you about some shows that are coming up in the future. We're going to be doing a show either next week or the week after on the psychology of love and sexuality. That will be with the resident psychologist from the Jake Pentland show. No, I'm not talking about Jake Pentland. I'm talking about Dr. Katie. She's going to come on and talk to us a little bit about that. I read her blog recently. I read something she wrote about gay marriage, and it really, really warmed the cockles of my heart. It actually made me cry. I'm really interested in taking other people's opinions about situations, because what it does, it helps me to either validate my own or kind of changes them just a little bit. Linda Moolips, where are you? You going to call in? I saw you just tweeted me a minute ago. Give us a call. There's still some time left on the show. Let me just check. Nope, there's nobody calling yet. Kathy says she tries to take a nap with her kids when she can. You know, it's really funny. A lot of people say that that's a good way to go, to sleep when your kids sleep. I sleep whenever I can because I work for myself. I'm not kind of bound by any 9 to 5 situation. Like I could get up in time to be at work for 9 o'clock in the morning, at night possibly. But no, definitely not. I sleep when I can. Oh, we have a call. Let's see who this is. Hi, you're live on Xandermonium. What's your name and what's your beef?
All right, how you doing there, gentlemen? This is Richie.
Hey, Richie, how are you?
All right, man. I have a little problem, and I can't.
What do you have a problem with, dude?
I have a problem with a certain place I go to. I like to wear my beautiful cowboy hat when I go out, and apparently this one place I go to, I don't want to mention the name of it, they don't want nobody to wear hats anymore, even though for the last 11 years I've been going there wearing all sorts of hats.
Right.
I mean, I feel if I'm not wearing a gangster hat or any sort of thug hat, that I should be able to wear it.
So tell me a little bit more about this venue. Obviously, you don't want to name this venue, but is this venue, is it a bar or is it somewhere that should have a dress code? What kind of venue is this?
Well, it's a bar. They used to advertise themselves as a karaoke bar, but now they changed management recently.
Right.
And, all of a sudden, one of the new managers, some guy that took over, he felt he wants to enforce a new type of dress code.
Right. And do you think that's I take it you think that's unfair?
Yeah, I mean I really do. It's not like I'm trying to go around, walk around, it's not like I'm walking around dressed unprofessionally.
Right. It's not like you're naked in the bar or anything, is it, Richie? Have you thought about discussing this with him? Have you thought about saying, "Hey, look, Mr. New Manager person, tell this. I like to wear my hat, and if you're not going to let me come in without my hat, then maybe I probably will take my patronage elsewhere."
Well, I was actually kind of thinking of saying that to him because I went there Friday night. So when he told me that, the best part was I'm over in this bar, and he goes to me, "All right, Richie, if you see anybody that's wearing a hat, I am gonna. You point them out to me. I will make them take it off." And wouldn't you know, for the few hours I was there, I actually had caught about 8 people wearing hats.
Really?
Yeah.
So clearly, it was a hat kind of night. So how are you gonna address this then, Richie? If they don't let you start wearing your hat in the bar, maybe if you know the owner, maybe you should speak to the owner if you think it's an unfair policy. I don't understand why some places have a dress code. I mean, sure, I understand that some bars that won't let you in without a shirt on and things like that. I mean, hell, I wouldn't go out without a shirt on, but a hat, I think you don't have to wear a hat, but if you feel so strongly that you want to wear a hat, then speak to the manager again and speak to the owner. And if you have friends that maybe work in the venue, speak to them and maybe get some advice from them too.
Well, that sounds. Yeah, I was actually thinking about what you were saying though about taking my patrons going elsewhere if they don't seem to be in reasonable thought as well.
Right. I think that should always make that your last resort, though, Richie. If you like the bar, you sounds like you do because you've been going there for 11 years. But if you can't compromise, see if they will compromise. There's always a possibility of a meeting of minds. So talk to the owner, talk to the manager, and if you have any friends that work there, I would suggest you talk to them too, and see where you go from there. But listen, Richie, thank you so much for calling in today, and you have a great day.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night at karaoke.
All right. Thanks a lot. You take care now.
All righty.
Bye. That was the lovely Richie. I know who he is, and I know the bar he's talking about, but maybe I shouldn't say too much about the venue. After all, we all have to make a living. But I do think the dress codes, some dress codes in some venues are really ridiculous. Yes, Joe, I do karaoke. I am sometimes I host karaoke in venues, and I also DJ, and I also do anything that they're going to pay me for that I can keep my clothes on doing. I also act. I also sing. I have an album out there called The Platinum Prequel. And you should all go out and buy it now and buy it for your friends. That's at www.cdbaby.com/Xander Gibb. Yes, I act too, Joe. Check out YouTube, type in Xander Gibb. You'll be able to see some of the things that I've started. None of the pornos that I've been in is on there, though, Joe. Sorry. You have to go to Netflix for the porn. Ha. Well, I don't think Linda's going to call in today. I know she's been out with her kids this afternoon. I want to thank you all for calling in today. It's been really nice chatting with you. The idea of today's show was to give people a platform. Now, most of these talk shows, they say call in, and you're waiting for ages to get your call picked up. But I just really want that to be a part of the show every week, at the end of the show, even during the show. I want people to be able to call in and use some of the time as a platform. There's always enough time to take people's calls. Joe in the chat room is telling me now that I'm a tease. Tony thinks that I should be a counselor. I actually am a trained counselor. Funnily enough, I used to be a social worker many moons ago, and part of that job was counseling. Thank you, Brian, for calling in. I look forward to coming on the show again. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you to Brody, too, for calling in. Thank you, Joe, for being in the chat room. And thank you to you guys for listening. It's really, it's always nice when people listen to my show and tell me how much they've enjoyed it. Also, that I like it when people tell me what they would like to hear. After all, this show is not about me. This is about you. This is about putting things on that people would be interested in, and I want to keep it. I want to keep it interesting. So if there's anybody you want to have on the show, feel free to let me know or let them know, and we'll try and get them on. I look forward to having you all next week. On the show, that is, before anybody writes in and complains. If you're not following me on Twitter, you can follow me at Xander Gibb, and also on Facebook, Xander Gibb. Joe's telling me Kathy can get good people. Hey, I'm never averse to Kathy getting someone on the show. Maybe she could contact Pink, and we could get her on the show, and Kathy could co-host the episode. So, have a great night. Have a safe week. Don't forget to check out my album, www.cdbaby.com/Xander Gibb. And the album is called The Platinum Prequel. And let's do something that we don't normally do. I'm going to play out with one of my songs, if I can find it in the studio list. Where is it? Here we go. This song is called This Is Love. This is to play you all out. Thank you so much for listening, and I love you all. Bye-bye. Been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is Thank you all once again so much, and I will see you again next week. Lots of love now.